Back to Nigeria 2015, our continuing coverage of the general elections that continues again today. Well, don't forget that you can get across to us if you'd like us to know anything, what's going on, where you are. All you need to do first is you can tweet at us. Any of our Twitter handles will suffice, at Chamberlain Uso or at Gimba003. You can also send us an email. That will be Nigeria2015@channelstv.com. Well, we still have our panel of analysts here with us. From my extreme left, Professor Oyelowo Oyewo, Professor of Law, Faculty of Law, University of Lagos. Sitting beside him is Dr. Abiola Akiode Afolabi, Transition Monitoring Group Coordinator. And then we'll have Malaki Ugomadu, who is a legal practitioner, but all of them, Channels TV's election consultant. Well, Gimba is also here today.
I want to thank you so much indeed for tuning in to Channels Television. We'll bring in everything to you live as they happen. 29 states going through this process. We have just one state that has been confirmed, Ogun State, that is. The results have been announced in that state. We're having 28 more to go, and INEC is double speeding on this to try to see that the results are coming in. Collation is still going on. The countings are just about at the tail finishing of that, and as soon as we have them, be rest assured that you'll be watching us all over the world. We expect you to send those pictures also. If there are skirmishes and fracas in your area, just send it to us. You know the channels to use, and we will use them on this platform. It's Channels Television.
And then those resident electoral commissioners, they'll do very well to use calculators this time.
Much faster.
To make it more faster.
I wonder whatever happened to spreadsheets.
Well, they said they did, but they just like to just double check to see what they have manually. It's the same with the computer, but I don't know. How could that be wrong? Unless, let me just stop at that. But then results of River State's governorship elections and the State House of Assembly trickling in. We'll go over now to our correspondent, Emmanuel Ere, who joins us via phone today. Hello, Emmanuel. What's new in River State?
Hello, Chamberlain. Every one of us, everyone is keeping his calculator close to his chest, at least on the table. Maybe you don't need one right there at this time.
You never know.
Well, okay. Well, yesterday at about 10 p.m., I'd like to start from that point. Three candidates in the governorship election, Charles Harry of APGA, Reverend Harry of SDP, and Dakuku Peter Side of the APC, representing, they said they were representing some other candidates who could not be there at the time. They spoke to the press to say they called for the cancellation of the results even before the results began to come in and before we got to this point. Their reason, according to them, was due to widespread violence, intimidation, open intimidation of their supporters. Many of them, they say, were not able to come out due to shootings that occurred in many areas around the state. Well, that was a position they took yesterday, and they still maintain that particular voice. But while that cry is on, INEC had begun sometime around 9 a.m. To talk about, to reel out the results that have been coming in from the different local government areas. As we speak, 17 local government areas have already delivered.
Okay.
And going by the results that we have to wait actually for the full results to be given before we begin to go into some of the details.
Okay, but we understand from the reports we have here, out of that 17, expecting 6 more. So what can you tell us about those 17 that have been released?
Okay, Chamberlain, if you want me to give you some form of detail, maybe I should just tell you that out of the 17, the PDP seems to have taken the cream out of 16 of them, and the APC has one local government so far in their kitty.
Which other parties are being leading, so to speak, in this race for the governorship position in River State?
Did you say which
other
other
parties? Yes.
I think it comes down to the two major political parties, the APC and the PDP. They are the ones that have been sharing the spoils majorly. The other political parties have been doing their bit on their own level, some getting 17, 16, to some getting 0. So we decided to situate our report within the parameters of two major contenders.
All right, so about what time do you think the other results will be announced?
Well, they went on a break some time ago. I understand that they will resume the announcement of the results in a few moments, but we'll have to wait and see.
All right, what do we know about some states or some areas that elections were supposed to be concluded today?
Well, we understand that in some areas around Obiakpo, Ward 16 and 17, with a total voting population of 75,700, they're supposed to have, they are supposed to conduct elections in some of those areas. There are other areas in Abua, Odwa, in Akuku, Toro. We expect that elections will be conducted in some units, some wards, and we'll see how all of that will add up at the end of the day.
Thank you very much indeed, Emmanuel.
Thank you very much.
Well, so there you go. 17 local government areas out of 23, waiting for 6 more to be announced later today. But the high point of this and what we've seen in Akwa Ibom protests, where they in Rivers State also say, this is about the second time. The first one was the presidential elections, where the chairman of the commission said, look, we've gone, we've checked. To the best of our knowledge, elections held. If you're so further aggrieved, you know the next step to the tribunal. Now they're holding press conferences again, announcing to the public that elections didn't hold. But yes, it's not the press that will announce cancellation of elections, but one wonders, they know the law, the candidates. They know what's obtainable. Maybe I should ask Malaki, when they go hit the streets like this, asking for maybe elections not to hold, what do they really seek to achieve?
Well, I think that one of the very significant beauty of democratization process, or even democracy in practice, is the activation of the judicial aspect of government, just so to intervene at the end of exercises such as this. If you operate within a climb like ours and find the very disturbing ambivalence of law enforcement agencies, for instance, where you cannot categorically get to the facts of a matter, the only option, the only civilized option at your disposal is to ventilate your interest in the court. However, I would think that Rivers State, just like Akwa Ibom, has become very dramatic in this whole exercise. You recall that soon after the Abuja Peace Accord, the next day, bombs exploded in the same rivers. I think it was the same Obiakpo. That is the secretariat of the APC. That for me showed that, look, it's operating at its own frequency. I'm talking of Rivers State as a state now within the Federation of Nigeria. If you also recall that the last presidential election threw up some form of very curious outcome, in the sense that a sitting governor, in my humble view, made a tactical mistake when he led his people and insisted that they were not going to participate in the election. The outcome was colossal, and I don't think that that would have been manageable, but for the huge number of votes that the president-elect got from the north. Because Rivers State, let's face it, I think records about the highest number of voters within this experience. And I like to add by saying that if, as a people, they have realized that there are issues already, what is now their responsibility? I'm talking of the contestants. Is beyond the conferences held calling for cancellation. It's also to be a little creative in gathering all the material evidence that will be useful in contesting the outcome of the election. Because it does not stop at that level of resentment when you say that they were rigging and all that. You must have to be. We're beginning to hear issues of drones now, as though we're in Afghanistan.
Let me ask you though, still in line with this, do you think that the people trust the judicial system enough, especially concerning election issues, so much so that they are patient enough to allow the process get to the tribunals?
I think it's not, probably, you have to look at the whole system holistically. Because sometimes the things that will take place before the election tribunal are so technical that people don't even understand what is going on. So the tendency is that within the context of, you know, the moral justice of the issues, the legal justice might not be on the same pedestal. And the bottom line is that the moral justice, which you think you observe, does not measure up with the legal justice. You don't forget that in the tribunal and in the court, we do justice according to law. And justice according to law may not really be coterminous or be the same. That's
the part that gets people confused.
Yes, I think that's what gets people, and that's why we need to nip the problem, you know, before they get to the court. For instance, we've been hearing this, there's violence, and we know that there's a correlation between violence and the outcome of, you know, election results. And if INEC should go and investigate subsequent to the election, they're not going to meet the violence on ground. The violence will have petered out. So those who are doing the violence are profiting from it. They know they work, because they know that violence, once you bring the violence, it has the effect of favoring you. And then at the end of it, when the investigation, even to prove it in court, is not easy. Because this principle of substantial compliance will come in, where people on queue, fine, the card reader read, fine, was their vote, fine. By the time everything is fine, what you think is not fine becomes legally fine.
This gets even more interesting.
I think the important thing is that we must learn lessons like they do in other climates. After each election, we should look at the whole process and identify those weak links that makes our democratization process.
Including pictures and videos as evidence.
We'll examine those other areas when we return from the break. Don't go away.